Welcome to She Chose Joy with Melanie, where we discuss all things love, wellness, and joy. I'm your host, Melanie Foote-Davis, also known as the Self-Love Cultivator. Have you ever thought about finding your peace or how to protect your energy? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today with my guest, Tiffany Allen. She's going to also help you find your energy generators. Cool, right? So let me tell you a little bit about Tiffany. No matter what stage of life you find yourself in, as a financial professional working with individuals and businesses, she helps you find solutions to your financial challenges. So whether you're just starting out, settling into retirement, or somewhere in between, together you'll discuss your current financial situations, your goals, and your challenges. And she'll review your insurance needs and goals and adjust strategies as needed, while providing various options to make sure that you find the right solution for your specific financial challenges. The foundation of her philosophy is based upon helping you realize your financial goals while helping you protect those who depend on you. I'll repeat, to help protect those who depend on you. And she strives to maintain a strong relationship with you throughout every stage of your life. So, let's get into it. Here's Tiffany Allen. Well, welcome, Tiffany.
Alan, how are you?
How are you?
Great.
Good. I'm super excited about this conversation today.
As am I.
Yeah, it's been I haven't been out today, but I know last week the weather was fairly warm at one point for November in Chicago, and I was so grateful. So I don't know what it feels like today, but it looks really pretty, and I'm feeling really vibrant today.
Well, good. That's important.
Yeah, it is important. So how things been going for you?
Things are good. And they are intentionally good. So very happy about that. In spite of everything else we all have going on, things are good. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. So we are good.
Yeah. It's funny. I appreciate you saying intentionally good. And it's funny because I just read a quote a few minutes ago. Let me see if I can find it. And it says, it's a funny thing about life. Once you begin to take note of the things you are of the things, and it's by Jeremy Kent. And so you were saying that you're intentional, and then you also the things that you actually have, like, and being grateful for it and appreciative of it. And so I appreciate you saying and sharing that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And so when we were talking the other day, you mentioned, we were talking about COVID and all the different things that we learned over this time. And one of the things that you mentioned was looking for more time.
Right.
And really realizing that it was about energy.
Correct.
So let's talk about that.
Sure. So, as a business professional, been in business for the last 27 years. As a mom, I have 3 children, a granddaughter, and just, a member of my community. I just found myself thinking, wow, I wish I had more time. There's so many things I need to do. I want to gain some more credentials. I want to be there for my clients in a much broader way. And I was just thinking, I need more time. And it dawned on me, you know what? It's not time. It's really energy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the same amount of time, in the day, all of us. And so I think, what I'm really seeking, and I think a lot of people miss it, it's energy. And how do you purposely protect your energy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, there was pre-COVID, right? When I think I was in my right mind then. Uh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm in my right mind. But I used to pray for supernatural energy. And, with COVID, things have just really kind of gotten out of hand. They've, spiraled down this rabbit hole of now we're staying in the house. I mean, so I think, for me, my ask is, supernatural energy and to be around people and things that generate that energy. So I'm only focused on the generators. Who are
Mm-hmm.
and what are my generators?
Mm-hmm. Love, love, love that. Like this is about to get juicy now. This is my jam.
Yeah.
It is my jam. So yes, who are your generators? So what did you discover? Like who are your generators?
Well, I can generate myself sometimes,
Mm,
but in order to do that, I have to do the right activities. And so, it starts with, paying yourself first in a number of ways,
mm,
right? And I
mm-hmm,
would say just making sure you understand that you deserve it, right? You deserve to get up and work your body out, right? Get some great exercise, and then you deserve to put good fuel into your body. You deserve that. But a
mm-hmm,
lot of times I think we forget that we do deserve that. And so things as simple as that can be my own generators, right?
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
walking, making sure that when I walk back into my home in the evening, that it is pleasing to my eyes. So making sure I
mm-hmm,
do those things, making sure everything is put back in its place. Maybe for some it might be the smell of fresh air, right? Or
mm-hmm,
the smell of lavender, something that's going to speak to your energy.
mm-hmm.
So it's me. It's the people that I love and that support me and give me good advice. And it's all those things as well. And I think we have to protect that space so that our energy is not derailed, because we all have some of those people and things that are derailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we handle them? And I think for everybody it's different, but I think it goes back to the coping mechanisms and making sure that we have boundaries and we're guarding our space and our energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just going to go back to like the theme here: purposeful, intentional, right?
Right.
And in an awareness about like you're being purposeful, you're intentional about it, and then an awareness about who it comes through, where it comes from, and even that choosing to like own your own power to create that energy for yourself, which
Right.
is a piece that many of us often forget, is the fact that we also have the power within us to create that in which we're seeking,
Right.
right?
Correct.
And so I heard all of that in what you said. And then even with going back to like noticing that you were tapping into your senses, like the smell
Right.
of fresh air or lavender, your body, like that sense of touch and feeling and all of those things, like getting in your body in terms of taking that and then fueling your body. It even also taps into like taste,
Absolutely.
and then with that I'm just going to go ahead and throw smell back in there because we smell the aroma of our food as well, and all of those things do um bring about different energies, some good, some bad, all of those things. um so yeah, let's hear more. Oh, one other thing you said, like that I really appreciate too, was talking about your home being pleasant when you come in.
Right.
um and a friend of mine, Michelle Herndon, she talks about that too, about how to create your soul nest,
Yes.
which again is all about that energy.
Yep. And it just takes discipline, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Concentrated discipline on, what is your schedule? For me, I wake up at 5. Let's say 4:50. I do a workout from 5 to 6. And then I make sure I fuel my body at 6. I usually have a shake or something with fruit and vegetables and great nutrients, protein. And I
Mm-hmm.
do that. And then I begin to make sure, I tidy up a little bit if need be. I get dressed. I try to get in the office by 8 because, I have this hour between, oh, it's too early to make calls or too early for people to call me. I have this hour to kind of set the tone for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And in each one of those activities, from working out to fueling my body to the tidy up, I've set the tone already. And so now
Mm-hmm.
it's really just about protecting your space. And of course, doing those things on a regular basis takes discipline, especially now. We all have so many things that are thrown at us, right? We're working from
Mm-hmm.
home, we're in this pandemic. Some of us are concerned about our jobs or our loved ones. There's so many unknowns. And so
Mm-hmm.
we have the power to control what we can control.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things is how we respond to things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned, early on about prioritizing, what needs my energy the most, what and who. And so you have to prioritize those things. Everything's important, but sometimes someone or something may require your energy more than the next. And you have to know yourself enough to know where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I say yes, yes, yes. I don't know if you can hear me, but my two snaps. Um, yeah, because now let me just tell you that working out from 5 to 6 would be a tough one for me because that is not my prime time of day. But at the same time, that's something that I know about myself,
Right.
that the morning is not like the optimal time for me. Um, and so being able to, I'm just saying that for the listeners that's out there. So just because that works for you, being able to like identify your own rhythm and knowing what your time is, what your prime time is.
Right.
Yeah. Um, and I was just listening to like when you talk about having an hour when you get in the office by 8 and you have that hour to set the tone, how that actually is beneficial for all parties, like for the highest good of all parties involved, because it gives you a chance to be in the space that you need to be in order to be of service to your clients. And them on the receiving end, they get the best of you.
They get the best of me. That's absolutely
Yeah.
correct. And they deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
My clients
And,
deserve that.
and so everybody wins because you get to be in your best self, tap into that space. Um, yeah. So cool. So cool.
And
So when,
I was going to just take it a step further, Melanie.
mm-hmm,
We talked a little bit about discipline and energy and working out,
mm-hmm.
in your body. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the whole budgeting piece.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it surrounds something like a pandemic that most of us have not seen in our lifetimes, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
being one with your finances as well. A lot of times that is one of the things that can cause you the most stress. So
Mm-hmm.
just, getting a hold of your finances and anything we talk about today, if someone needs assistance with any of those things, budgeting, exercising, um, having a good diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seek help. There's always someone who can assist you in those
Mm-hmm.
areas, even including myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I believe each one reach one, each one teach one.
Absolutely. And let's just talk about that for a minute, like in terms of seeking support, because that's something that's really challenging for many of us. And especially if I'm going to say, like, my audience are a bunch of strong women, right? And I'm using air quotes. And I'm a strong believer that we get to redefine what strong looks like. And I am really, my intention is to be able to shift the thinking around strong, meaning that we don't ask for help,
Right.
because that's actually a very courageous act. And like you said, each one teach one. So we all have different gifts and talents that we can offer. And if we actually lean on each other and leverage the strengths of our community, then together we all will rise and shine.
Absolutely. That is so very, very true. And I think it just comes from you telling yourself you deserve to be the best you. And sometimes if that means you need a little help to get there,
Mm-hmm.
get a little help. I think that makes you strong.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Being brave enough to ask for someone to assist you.
It's a very courageous decision
I think
because it requires being vulnerable, right? And there's risk involved with that, but there's also strength in that space.
I would agree.
You
I
know,
could not
versus the
agree with
way we've been taught that is weakness, but it's not. And so, yeah, so like if someone like you who have a wealth of knowledge, you know, lots of credentials and all these things, and you are courageous, you know that you deserve to be at your best, and you choose to get the support that you need in the different areas of your life, like, and thinking of it more like a partnership,
right.
right?
Right. Right.
You know, like for me, I would need, so someone working out a meal plan for me would be helpful.
Absolutely. I
Cause
mean,
that's not my strength.
absolutely. And I did not always eat well. I recently
Mm-hmm.
lost 30 pounds.
Ooh,
Uh,
go girl.
but that's because I didn't always eat well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned over time how to eat well, what makes sense for my body and my palate, and what is going to allow me to be my best self. And so, you know what? I do those things.
Mm-hmm. You just said something too, and I don't even know, just in case somebody else missed it. You said what works best for you and your body, which
That's right.
means it doesn't have to be a cookie cutter. Like that, again, that's where the seeking support can help because the person can tailor it for your needs.
Right. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different. This thing called life is not cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
different for everybody.
Yeah. So can we go back to the budgeting piece for a minute?
Absolutely.
Um, because it's this whole thing, like in terms of if we think about like lack consciousness or abundance consciousness and all these things, it's like sometimes we do have people, there are some of us who actually have a budget. We actually live by it and have a real strategic plan. So when the pandemic hit, we were good, things were fine, like that type of
Right.
thing. And then there are some of us who weren't, like we went into panic mode.
Right.
And um, but even from a space of mindset, I'm going to dare to say that even sometimes those of us who, and that's a different conversation, but I'm going to say it anyway, just because it's on my
That
mind.
part.
Though there are some of us who actually have our finances are set, but we still can have a lack mindset because we're afraid of losing it,
Yeah.
which also means you're not vibrating in that abundance
Right.
space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
I just need to get that out of my system.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is balance, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when you think about budgeting and your finances, there's a balance to that, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you've got so much allocated to, your living expenses, to saving, to investing, but most importantly, and this is what I've learned over time, pay yourself first. Pay
Mm-hmm.
yourself first, and send it to a place that you can't readily retrieve it, and do it systematically, meaning every 2 weeks, every month. Pay yourself first. That's the key. And I think it all
Mm-hmm.
starts where we deserve it. So first you have to make sure that you know you are worthy to have
Mm-hmm.
that. And once you realize that, it becomes easy.
And so, what would you say to the person that says, "Well, I don't have anything extra to pay myself"? Like, I know you're saying pay it first, right?
Hmm.
And so that means you first, but the training or our thought process, right, is pay the bills first and then pay yourself with what's left over.
So that is a
So,
shift in mindset. It
mm-hmm.
is a mindset shift. And I would dare them, that person, truth or dare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be
Mm-hmm.
real about where it's going, and that comes to budgeting. And
Mm-hmm.
then I dare you to try it.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that it makes like the practice is actually more important than the amount? Like just getting in the habit, like developing the habit. So even if you start with $25 every 2 weeks or something like that, and then increase it once you get in the habit of doing
Yeah.
it, like as a small place for someone who may be like, I don't know, Tiffany. You don't know my life. You don't see my budget. You know how it is, how we fight for our limitations, right?
Yeah, I would say yes. The practice is what's important in the beginning, right? And of
Mm-hmm.
course, show yourself improved by, an
Mm-hmm.
increase and building on that. But that whole systematic piece of
Mm-hmm.
just doing the activity is what's going to take you far.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
Operating in discipline. We do things because we know they're going to benefit us, not because they always feel good and we always love to do them. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
runner. I don't necessarily love running, but I love the results.
Mm-hmm.
The results.
That's good.
So then you just commit to it. And we're using some words here that I think, we shouldn't take lightly. You know, energy and discipline and
Mm-hmm.
purposeful and intentional and being your sense of awareness. These
Mm-hmm.
are all things that I'm thinking now I probably should write them all down and meditate on them on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis. But seriously, I mean, these things
Mm-hmm.
make a lot of sense. And
Mm-hmm. They
we don't
do.
live in that realm, right? We stay above the clouds, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what can bring us down?
Mm-hmm. And that's where, like, we can just, I'm going to throw in a couple of other words to this piece, place, like consciousness, because if we aren't conscious and aware, like, you can't be intentional without being conscious, right?
Right,
So that whole awareness, and then you choose with purpose.
right.
Um, and, um, And let's go back to energy again for a minute. Like let's really talk about what that means for you. Like when you say energy, what are you speaking to?
I'm talking about the overall mind, body, soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some might call it a vibe. What
Mm-hmm.
vibe do I give off? I mean, I could even say when you and I met. I mean, I got a vibe from you. I think you got a vibe from me, and it was a connection, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
women have something. I call it emotional intelligence, right? We can kind of pick and dictate who's good for us if we
Mm-hmm.
really tap into that emotional intelligence, right? And so we can feel someone's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's
Mm-hmm.
everything's connected: mind, body, soul, our spiritual realm. And we have to be conscious of it because we can walk in the room and bring some bad energy. We
Absolutely.
have to be really careful what type of energy we give off, but at the same time, check all those other things about ourselves and make sure we're good. And then
Mm-hmm.
surround ourselves with, I think I spoke about those generators early in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Your generators, and anything that's not, I say steer clear from.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's like we've all experienced it, but we're not necessarily conscious of what we just experienced. And so it can be as simple as, like, we could hear some examples that I feel like is relatable. Like, have you ever walked into a room and um everyone was laughing and you start laughing too. You don't even know what was
Right,
funny. But when you walk in, suddenly you've picked up on that energy. You feel connection to that vibe. And so you just walk in and join the party. It's like, hey, what's
right,
going on? Right.
right.
And then the same thing where something else could have just happened. There may have been an intense conversation, right?
Yep.
And then you walk in and the room feels heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like those to me are two examples that are that are easily relatable to, I'm going to dare to say, all people,
Mm-hmm.
and like us just being more aware of when that's happening, and are we the ones generating that vibe that pull people into the heaviness, or are we the ones that's generating the parts that evokes joy and fun and adventure and all of those things?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I see things like, we always see these signs about good vibes and good vibes only, but do people really know what they're wearing when they say it? And are we conscious of the fact that we also have a vibe?
Right.
Like, you know, that is not about everybody outside of us bringing us bad vibes, but
Right.
it's also what we bring to the table as well.
What do we bring to the table? That's
Yeah, like when we enter a space, are we entering the space like bringing the love, the peace, the gratitude with us?
mm-hmm. Definitely something to think about. And we all need to take a moment and check ourselves to make sure we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know what someone has gone through the moment, right, that moment right before you had the encounter. And so, I know you speak about love and peace and joy, and so I think that we need to bring that
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah, instead of looking for somebody to bring it to us.
Yeah. You get what you give. Give.
Yes.
If what you give, you're going to get in return.
Mm-hmm. And then that goes right back to the money. You get what you
You
get.
get.
So if you're taking that systematic approach to saving, investing, paying yourself first, you're going to get great rewards from that
And
too.
well,
And even money is energy.
it is. Money is energy. I mean, you walk a little different when you
Mm-hmm.
are kind of solid in your finances, right? You
Mm-hmm.
walk a little different knowing that, if it rained, my mom used to always say, "Hey, save for a rainy day because one day it's going to rain." And if
Mm-hmm.
in that rain, when you're walking and it rains and you're ready, you've got a different pep in your step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
A little more
Be-
confidence, a little more confidence.
mm-hmm. 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 And it's interesting. So I recently just did a virtual retreat, which was amazing. I'll just have to say that. Um, the Exhale Now virtual retreat, and one of the presenters, Sherry Fry, was speaking to money, and she was talking about the way you treat your money is also how you love yourself.
Exactly.
So yeah. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think we have to realize again, you deserve it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to love yourself enough to know that you deserve it. It's no different than, and I agree with her. My mom always used to tell me too, obviously, save for a rainy day, it's going to rain. But she also used to tell me how you treat money. You want to make sure that money is neat in your purse or your wallet, right? You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
fold it up, stuff it in your pocket, right? Have some respect. Be a respecter of that money. So I
Mm-hmm.
would agree. How you treat it is a reflection on how you love on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, once we start walking in the I deserve, I am worthy, I am
Mm-hmm.
as you are, then you will treat yourself like you're worthy and you are deserving
Mm-hmm.
of all of,
Mm-hmm.
of respect, of love, of discipline, of good energy, of all of those things, even
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of a pandemic,
Yes.
even in the midst of all of this.
Mm-hmm. And even with you saying I am worthy, like that whole piece about being really careful about what we attach our I ams to.
That's right.
And so if we're saying I am stressed, no, you are not stressed is not what you are, it's how you feel,
Exactly.
right? And there's a difference. And so also I am broke is not something that you want to attach to your I am. I am struggling.
No.
Like being real careful, like attach your I am to things that you want to call forth and invite in, or actually things that actually are, but you aren't owning.
Right. Right. Things that empower you.
Yeah, yeah, because all of that is energy related as well. I love how you were talking about like respecting money and how you treat it because like we have a relationship with money. And if we look at money as a relationship, how would you want to be around a friend that treats you the way you treat your money?
Something to think about, right?
Yeah.
Definitely something to think about.
Even when it comes down to, and that's something that, that's a conversation that, to be transparent, that I've had with myself more than once, like over and over again. And it's still something that I'm working through. And so, just even things like paying attention to your money, like spending time with your money, as simple as balancing your checkbook, not just out swiping a debit card all willy nilly,
Right.
you know, it's like that's the way of spending time with it,
Yep.
checking in with it, seeing how it's doing.
Right. Absolutely. And that's a whole different conversation, just making
hmm
sure that checking in with it, checking in with your money, checking in with your full financial
hmm
outlook,
Yeah. And maybe what we
making
can do
sure
is
that,
have you come back and we can just do a segment just on that, like a relationship with
yeah,
money.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Especially for our we want to make sure that we are contributing to the next generation, right? And
hmm
so we can come back and address that. But again, it does take discipline, and it takes, getting to know your money and how it works, and making it work for you.
hmm
And again, how much energy does that create when you know you are good with your finances?
hmm And I know we just talked about you coming back and talking about it, but can we just dig in just for a minute on that piece about
Hmm.
contributing to the next generation? Because
Hmm.
here the thing is, the next generation is watching us, and so how the those around us are watching how we treat our money, how the energy around money from our conversations to our behaviors, and we're passing that down too. and
Right.
and so being clear about what it is we want to pass to the next generation, including best practices.
Well, again, that's a interesting conversation, but I that when you think about the generations, our baby boomers
hmm
were a generation of people who were responsible. They were savers. And as you even think about it now, they have a high degree of disposable income. So they were responsible. And as you get down to, the following generations, let's say, Generation X, right? We're still good, but, we got away from it a little bit. We,
hmm
we had a more openness with things that we could do. But then you think about, the millennials and the Generation Y, they are a generation of what is convenient.
hmm
Imagine, you talked about swiping a card. Anything you want is right there on your phone for you to grab at. You have all these companies that can ship things right to your house, whether it's food or, a nice new toy.
hmm
Um, it's a generation of convenience,
hmm
and you have that, and you have so many things that you are approached with, and you see all these things visually. It becomes very difficult, so we have to bring back that responsibility piece.
hmm
uh, I was in an appointment yesterday, and a personal, hygiene, getting my eyebrows waxed, and the younger woman, who's I think a Generation Xer, said, she said, "You don't see my Instagram and what's available. Your social media is very different than mine." And so I thought about that, and I said, well, they're seeing all these things that they can do that money can buy.
hmm
Again, you got the generation that was responsible, and now you have the generation that is convenient. And she gave me an example. She said, "I want to go and get my teeth done." I'm like, what does that mean?
hmm
Right? You're going to spend money that you have beautiful teeth. Well, we don't see what they see. We don't see the convenience and all the things that money buy. And
hmm
these advertisements are geared towards just that, making sure that our dollars go to them. And so we have to rise above that and be a little more responsible.
Absolutely.
Spiral out of control with those things.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that convenience piece, but it makes sense. When you said it, it clicked. Like I got it. Just as soon as you said it, I could see exactly what you were speaking of. It's generation
Yeah.
of what's convenience, of convenience.
So we need some balance here. And you spiral out of control there. And again, your energy is built upon pleasing people. That's kind of what I see. And so you just have to bring that back and make sure they understand that there is a responsibility piece, there is a discipline piece. And not everybody, you know, but you want to make sure that, you know, we are empowering our younger generation so that they are responsible and building wealth and have amazing energy as well.
So true. So true. Definitely. So with that, we're going to have you come back, and then I won't derail you from the conversation. And we'll talk about that, right? Which I'm actually looking forward to. So of course, you know, I'm going to want to schedule that as soon as we finish this one.
Absolutely.
But even going back to like having a balance, and even as we think about money and we thinking about energy, and it's like all of those things do disrupt our peace. And so I guess in a nutshell, what I'm hearing is it relates to protecting our peace. It's about being able to see that you're worthy of it, B, making a choice, like to choose you and prioritize what is your priority, because when everything's a priority, then nothing is, right? Recognizing first that you actually get to generate the energy for yourself by paying yourself first in many ways, like understanding that you're worthy of it, fueling your body, working out, you know, like doing things that's good for your body, making sure your home is pleasing to your eyes and your sensibilities, and even if it's tapping into the other senses, like the smell of fresh air and lavender. And then also remembering how to be systematic and intentional when it comes to your money as well, because when the money's not flowing, your peace is often not flowing either. Oh, it's harder to access.
Correct.
Yeah
Correct. And then, you know, I can't take all the credit. I heard Stacey Abrams speak last year at an event. One thing that she said made a lot of sense to me. She said, decide what you want professionally, personally, and aspirationally. And do those things so that you can live your life by design. That's power. That's And so do those things. Decide what your goal is and only do those things that align to your goals.
So you said professionally, personally, and what was the last one?
Aspirationally.
Yes.
Yeah. And only do the things that align to your goals. You can't miss that way.
Love that.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share before we go?
Nope. Just find your generator.
Find your generator.
Plug it in. That's where your energy will flow from.
Love that. Because there's that saying, right? That, well, a couple of them, your energy, wait a minute. Your energy flows where your attention goes.
That's right.
And then there's also that what gets your attention gets you. And so being careful with what do you want to get if you're giving something else too much of your attention, then it's going to get you. It is going to get the best of you, right?
Yep.
So find your generator. Love, love, love that. So Tiffany, this has been cool. My wheels are turning. That's what happens.
Good.
I have these conversations and then my wheels start spinning. Um, and so I thank you for all the things that you shared. How can others get in touch with you?
Well, by my cell phone, 312-622-5183. Again, 312-622-5183. I have a small office in Matson where I do a number of things on the business consulting side. And if anyone is in need of help in any of the areas that I spoke of today, I'd be happy to assist you.
Yes, so that's area code 312-622-5183, and she's in Matson, Illinois.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is amazing. And and so I must ask, I believe that joy and gratitude are partners. And and so
Mm-hmm.
what are you most grateful for in this moment?
I am most grateful for being able to wake up and be my best self.
Mm,
One more
one
day.
more day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one more day. Every day I get one more opportunity to get it right.
Hmm.
The world to me. That really means the world.
Yeah, one more day to get it right. One more moment. Just lean
Yep.
into each moment, one moment at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. It builds momentum.
Hmm.
Those moments build momentum.
Yeah, it does. It
Hmm.
absolutely does. And so I'm going to leave with a quote too about energy. And it's one of the quantum prosperity truths. And it says that when your energy shifts, your timeline shifts. Like time didn't
Hmm.
shift, but your energy did.
Your energy did. Right. Right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward for you coming back and talking about that next piece. It's going to be juicy. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, it's going to be juicy. And so thank you all for joining us for another episode of She Chose Joy. Wasn't that good? Didn't she drop some really good nuggets, right? Like I'm really sitting with all of this, and it's so timely of everything that you shared today, Tiffany. Because as I mentioned, when we talked, that about an hour and a half or so before we talked about energy, I was just looking over some notes for a training that I'm pulling together about doing an energy detox, and it really taps into some of these very things, like being able to release that negative energy and invite in more good. And so this feels so synchronized and so timely, and I'm grateful for your presence today.
Likewise. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And so, with that said, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of She Chose Joy. And remember that your freedom lies in your decision to say yes to what you want, yes to who you are, and yes to what you stand for. So, will you stand for finding your energy generators today? Will you also stand for being your own best energy generator? And I'll see you on the next episode.